Hello, I'm John Rossi, a touring drummer with a love of all things animal. When I'm on the road, I visit as many zoos, aquariums... Hey, wait a minute. What's going on? Hey, what's going on there? Hello? 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 We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you Rossifari Zoo news. News you can use from the world of zoos and conservation. Every week, we bring you breaking news and analysis from around the globe, featuring the animals you love and the people who care for them. And here's your anchorman, John Rossi. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to Rossifari Zoo News, your look at everything going on in the world of zoos, aquariums, conservation, and general animal weirdness. So, y'all, we're going to do things a little differently this week. In case you don't realize this, the episode is going to be dropping later on Friday than it usually does. And that's because I am going to be recording an interview with Dr. Heather Schwartz of the Nashville Zoo to talk all about the data center situation. But Heather wasn't available until Friday morning, so I'm going to record this intro, and then I'm going to record the rest of the zoo news stuff, and then tomorrow, which is Friday, which is today when you're listening to this, I will plug that interview in and release the episode. So if anything seems a little bit weird as we're going through the episode, timing-wise, or if like Heather says something that, you know, I could have referenced in another story or something like that. That's why. I like to give you guys the inside baseball, let you know what's going on. And speaking of what's going on, other than that little bit of news, I am currently in Sonora, California, where the day this episode drops, we'll be opening Great Balls of Fire. And it's really nice to be back here. I was here 4 years ago, and I really love this area. And one of the coolest things is that the house that my buddy Luke and I are staying in is the same house that we stayed in 4 years ago. And it is so gorgeous here, y'all. It is at the top of this like ravine or cave. I don't know, call it what you will. But it is stunningly beautiful. Just this huge drop off with a ton of trees. And there are hawks and turkey vultures and a bald eagle that like circle the area. Sometimes like right above us. Sometimes because of the height of the house, they're actually circling below us, and we get to see that from like a top view. It is stunning, y'all, and I am having an absolutely wonderful time being back here and seeing this, and hopefully going to get some cool zoo opportunities in the process here as well. I will. I'm not going to say anything yet because I don't have anything finalized, but I have some ideas, and I'm hoping to make some connections and make some things happen, and maybe even get to see, I don't know, a little baby red panda or something if I'm real lucky. So yeah, so that's how life is for me right now. I had the worst travel day ever getting out here, and I was going to whine about it during this episode, but frankly, y'all want to hear from Dr. Heather and not from me complaining about a 23.5-hour travel day. So let's get to it, shall we?
We've been taking care of pandas and the seals, taking care of pandas, feeding meals. We've been taking care of pandas with zoo news, taking care of pandas and picking up their poos, pooping out.
All right, so here is my interview with Dr. Heather Schwartz. All right, welcome to the podcast. It is good to see you again. How have you been?
I have been doing really good. Thank you.
Awesome. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Sure. I'm Dr. Heather Schwartz. I'm the head vet here at the Nashville Zoo here in Tennessee.
Yes, and we have known each other kind of lightly for years. We've met up a couple different times.
That's right.
But you are one of the people in this world who is responsible for me loving binturongs as much as I do. So I'm always grateful for that.
I'm glad I could do something positive in the world.
Yeah, right. Many years ago, before Rossifari was really a thing, you guys had some kits there in the nursery, and I was so fascinated by them. And you were like holding them up to the window and like helping me see them more. And it meant so much to me. It was one of the times that I realized that people in the zoo world were so cool, like early on. So,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. I see him in the background over your head right now.
Yes,
so.
yes, 100%. And actually, I'm currently in the final stages of launching, hopefully, a safe binturong program with a pretty amazing team.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Oh, please share that with us.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. We're working on it. So yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about today, unfortunately. Much less happy things. So I've been sharing the basics of the data center fight that the zoo is going through right now with my audience and updating fairly regularly. But I don't feel like I can do it justice, you know. I'm excited. A whole lot of my listeners have let me know that they've gone and signed the petition and all that kind of stuff. And it's so cool to see all of the different communities in the zoo world coming together to help with this.
Yes.
But I would love to hear your thoughts, what's going on, any updates, and even just, you know, kind of what's been like for you guys there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely kind of been all that we've been talking about recently, right? It's kind of inundated our lives, but in a good way. It's been, for all the staff here, it's been amazing to see the support that this has garnered. I mean, this has kind of gone worldwide attention, you know, to our little zoo, and how people are just really on the side of animals and welfare and the environment. And so it's been so good to see that support. And I mean, over 500,000 people signing a petition and showing up till 2 a.m. to speak on our behalf and the community's behalf against this data center has been absolutely incredible. So that has all been so heartwarming and amazing for us to hear and see. But as far as the data center updates, you know, Tuesday night was the last reading, so it passed, and looks like at least until December, we've got a reprieve from this. It's going to put a pause and let us catch our breath a bit to see what's going to happen. We still don't know what's going to happen. I think at this point, the way it stands is they do own the property they signed before the ruling on Tuesday. So I guess they closed last week. So technically property is theirs. And so we'll see where it falls, if that means they think they were in front of it, therefore the rules don't apply now, or if they don't apply to them, or they do apply to them and they can't build it. So we're really not sure yet.
Okay. So that's a lot. It's
a lot.
Fascinating. So the rule that you're talking about, or was the mayor's proposal, kind of like coming up with a plan for data centers and like what they have to go through for vetting, right? And so that has now gone through, what is it, city council, I guess?
That is correct, yes.
Cool.
And it's had all 3 hearings. Yes.
I had no idea when I started talking about animals on a little podcast that I'd have to learn, you know, different politics of different states and localities and stuff. It's amazing.
I didn't honestly think we would be involved with that either, to be truthful. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is very fair. And so, okay, so they own the land, but the rule got passed so that data center building has become more of a challenge. So they're on hold until December at least. What kind of, I mean, especially with them owning the land, what are the next steps, and what can people do outside of like fancy lawyers and cool politicians?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think right now, just don't let it stop, you know, keep calling out, reach into your politicians, let them know how important this is. So it goes beyond December. This gets into like a law and a rule. And even though this was happening in Nashville's backyard, maybe go ahead and get ahead of it at your town, your community. So you're not caught off guard like we were. And so I think that would be what I would love to personally hear, is that other communities are getting ahead of this and slow rolling these things to figure out what the real impacts mean and what they're going to be for communities and zoos and wildlife. So I think that would be what I hope would continue to happen in this interim while we're still waiting to see what's going to happen right in our yard.
That makes a lot of sense. Very cool. And I'm curious, you know, from my understanding, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but from my understanding, we don't fully understand what the impact of the data center would be on the animals at the zoo. We can't say, you know, you're going to cut the lifespan of our animals by 30% or something like that. We just don't know, but that's terrifying. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, we don't know, and that is true. We do know there are some studies, right, where sound from large generating power, vibration, noises, those things has impacted, especially farm animals. Those that has been studied. We do know that our animals are sensitive, just because of, I mean, just my experience of working with things like clouded leopards. We know they're sensitive to mechanical noises. They don't like them, and they want to retreat from them. So that we do know. But exactly the decibels, what this center is going to do, how loud the vibrations, all those things, that's what we don't know yet, and just haven't had time to really to grasp that or know from their end really how much this is going to be an impact. The other things was, how much energy is this going to take up, and how much water is this going to take up, and will that interfere with the zoo's ability to provide all that here as well. I mean, this was coming off the heels of, most of Nashville losing power in February and having a hard time getting power and the zoo was majorly affected with that. I mean, the teams here at the zoo were incredible, ensuring that all of our animals stayed warm through all of that. But it was a lot. So having another center is going to take up a lot of that energy power is concerning.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how fast the AI thing and data centers and all of that has seemed to go from, oh, this is kind of a thing that's starting, and oh, that's cool. I made a sea turtle emoji that doesn't really look like a sea turtle because it's weird, because I didn't even know, the impact that it would have at first, to oh, we're destroying the entire world now and everything is just accelerated so quickly. So that's one thing it's crazy. And that's one thing that I love about this fight is that, yes, you're trying to protect your animals, but zoos are conservation leaders. And this goes so far beyond just your zoo and this data center, because we need to be fighting this. Our community needs to try to slow this down a little bit, or at the very least, make the companies that are making these data centers way more environmentally conscious about how they're doing it. I have spoken to people kind of off the record at places like Microsoft and such, and that are building a lot of data centers, and they talk a really good game about how they are advancing and making them better. But then when you actually ask for written out specifics, like you said, how many decibels will this building put out? They can tell you what they think, but they will admit that they don't know until they're there, or that they'll do a closed loop water system. And then you say, okay, but water still evaporates. Is it 100% closed loop? And they're like, well, no, but it'll stop most of it. But what does most mean? And that's when
you're
it
using that many gallons a minute or day or whatever.
Yeah. It's okay, great. You stopped 60% of the usage, but the 40% is still way more than you want to see being used, whatever it is. So I think it's really cool that you guys have become the focus of what has become a much larger conservation battle. And I don't even know when you guys started this, if you thought about that, or if you were just gotta save, gotta take care of our cloudies.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really think that is what's been so cool about it, is seeing all the support that's garnered, how much attention it has gotten in such a positive light. Such a divisive world that we live in. This has been pretty unifying.
Yeah.
Yes, there's still controversy around it, and there's still people on both sides, but in general, it seems that people are all in support of at least we agreeing that we need to watch where these places go and the impact that they're having. And so that's been really cool to see. But yeah, we never imagined in a million years this would go as far as it did. I mean, really the whole point in the beginning was just, hey, whoa, we didn't know this was happening. This is going really fast. And so, can we just get local attention to say, hey, can we put pause to this for a minute? Let's take a breath, because we didn't even know this was a thing.
Right.
Until it was already kind of moving forward quickly. So.
Yeah. Knowing how far along it was, I'm shocked that you guys were able to have an impact. I'm a big fan of dive in and fight the good fight, but the fact that it's working has given me a lot of hope at a time that where everything else in our country and the world right now feels like we're just burning it all to the ground, environmentally. Seeing even small wins has honestly meant a lot to me. It's been very cool to see. And I think it's helped so many people get behind it because it's cool and it feels like you're part of a winning, cause.
I agree with that completely. It does give you hope. Just like I said, seeing people lined up till 2 a.m. to speak on the zoo's behalf or their community's behalf, and just people taking time out of their busy lives to show up, huge. That's amazing. And it proves that we can make a difference, right?
It does. And I've actually had people from Nashville reach out to me because I put out a video about it, and it didn't go as viral as, Brad Paisley's video about it. You pulling in your celebrity friends. But
it's amazing, though. We love him.
We do. I know. I'll never forget when we were at the AAZV conference and you just, had him pop out for a little bit. That was fun.
Yeah.
But it did take off and it got a lot of people interested. And I've had people from the Nashville community reach out to me to thank me for doing that, who discovered the podcast and discovered Rossifari, social media through that because they're so invested in it, and who have told me that a couple people told me they never really cared about the zoo. Like they knew y'all existed, but there are lots of things in Nashville, whatever. But now they're like, oh, this place cares. And they're actually making an effort to care about our community. Not to say that you didn't before, but they didn't know about it before. And
That's
so
fair.
they have told me now they're going and they're checking out the zoo. And I'm like, oh, yes, let's do the thing.
Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah. I do hope that also shows the place where a good zoo is, right? We do so much beyond what people see as entertainment aspect. Yeah. I mean, we are truly here to educate and give back funds and knowledge around the globe to help the planet and help these animals. And so it's so much beyond our town. And my favorite part of working at the zoo is working in Nashville in the community. It's just such a good part. So I love to hear that people are saying, oh, they see us now and we are community based. And
yeah, it's been really cool hearing from non-zoo people who are now zoo people. I'm like, welcome. And you're right. I think so many zoos, I talk to PR people about this all the time. I'll go and do a Rossifari interview at a zoo somewhere, and they'll be like, hey, do you want to talk about this conservation initiative, this thing that we're doing? And there are things that I don't even know about. And I follow the zoo and I'm friends with some of the keepers and stuff. And I'm like, let's get this stuff out to the general public because it might not be as cute as a red panda picture. And admittedly, it's not. But this is what's going to make people understand the conservation and community aspects of good zoos. And I think ultimately help them understand the difference between a good zoo and a zoo that would just say, well, whatever, we just need to have people come in and pet all our animals and, give us money and it's fine. Yep. It's a different world. I know that sometimes when you become the face of something, it can feel like it gets away from you a little bit sometimes. So how have you personally felt? Because I see you popping up everywhere and it's not just the zoo, but it is you that has been everywhere. And so how has it been for you?
I just don't see it. Honestly, I try to avoid seeing my face anywhere. No, I mean, I think this, because it's been so positive and such for a good cause, it's just been another day in what I feel like we're supposed to do and talk about and try to help. And so I've been glad to be a part of it. However, I can help and talk and represent the zoo to put us out there for people to understand what's going on, then I'm happy to do so. So it's been pretty great.
That's awesome. Very cool. Is there anything else that you want to tell my listeners about any of this?
Oh, I don't think so. Beyond, just like I said, keep caring, keep showing up. And hey, it's proof that, each one of us can truly have a voice and a difference. So it's been awesome to see. So
that's awesome. Cool. I do have one other question for you about this, just because I'm kind of curious. Why was it Cloudies that you guys picked to be? Now, I know you guys are amazing with the breeding program. I get it. I've met clouded leopards at your facility and had the best time. I get it. But
they are the best.
What was the determination to use them when there are so many endangered animals at the zoo?
Well, I think because it's something that we are good at. They're a species that we are that are very sensitive. They're difficult to breed anyways. And we do have so many. We have more than any other zoo in North America as far as numbers of breeding pairs of cats. And with that, though, the breeding building that we have is literally one of the buildings. We have multiple pairs of cats, but is located. You can look out their door and see where the status center will be. So it's so close to that section of the zoo. That was just another reason it made the most sense to say, hey, this is really could impact, especially clouded leopards, since their building is right there. I mean, it'll be right behind the macaw building and the clouded leopard building.
Wow. That's
and
crazy.
so both of those are set up for breeding, and it just, could have a huge impact. And so I think that's why that one kind of got chosen as the pick, but it really is logistically the ones with probably the most likely impact.
Makes sense. And when it comes to animals in general, or cloudies in particular, it's always kind of been my understanding that breeding behavior is one of the first things to go if something is wrong. Is that correct, or is that just kind of okay?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
I've always I've been fortunate to travel and do stuff, and you look in the wild or in nature, right? Everyone's got the three things they're trying to survive. They want to eat and breathe and sleep, and then they want to breed, right? Yeah. Those are the things that make life go round. And so any of those that go off is an indicator something's not right, that they're stressed or that. So I think, yes, breeding is one of those first things that may take a back seat, that something is not correct or they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. Cool. Well, keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you.
We are here to support in any way that we can. Like I said, we've got, a lot of my listeners have signed the petition and have been bragging about it and sharing stuff.
Thank you.
So yeah, guys, keep doing that, please. And if your facility, if I can help in any way, please, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, and also tell people, another way you can help is, we are a complete not-for-profit. Come to the zoo, come visit.
It's a real good zoo. Can we just talk about that for a second? I love the Nashville Zoo.
I am biased, but I do think we have some of the most beautiful naturalistic exhibits. I feel like it's pretty immersive.
Yeah.
So you can feel like you've traveled somewhere without having to leave Nashville. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is. It is a stunning, stunning facility. I have had so many great times there, done so many great interviews there. I love it. So thank you.
Us.
Oh, we will. Right. Thank you. We need to get you on the real podcast. We need to do a full episode sometime. I want to introduce you more to my crowd. So
let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Take care, Heather. Thank you.
So good to see you. Thanks.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how awesome was that? I love Heather. Okay, admittedly, as I'm saying that right now, I haven't actually recorded the interview yet, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, but I know Heather, and I do love her, and I know it was awesome because Heather is really just an amazing speaker, and frankly, an amazing vet and an amazing person. So I'm so grateful to the long relationship that I have had with the Nashville Zoo, and I'm so glad they were willing to jump on to talk about that. So moving on from that, we get to our births and deaths for the week. The Potawatomi Zoo has announced the birth of 5 red panda cubs this week to Mom Rhea. Now, quintuplets are exceedingly rare for red pandas, and unfortunately, 4 of the little ones passed away within the first few days. They were born very undersized, which is really sad, but again, it's completely expected with a litter of that size. 5 cubs is just insane. The 5th cub is currently doing pretty well. It is being hand-reared. Intervention was necessary in this whole situation. 5 cubs, again, just crazy. But as of now, like I said, the remaining cub is doing well. It's nicknamed Big Red, and the little one is hitting all of the early milestones of red panda growth and development, so the team remains hopeful that the little one will survive. Echidna twins have been born at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. This is the first time twin echidnas have hatched at the safari park ever. And in fact, the babies, which are known as puggles, are not just the first twins to hatch at the safari park, but are the first twin echidnas to hatch in the AZA and the entire North American population of echidnas, which I think is really cool. And the Cincinnati Zoo has welcomed a female fennec fox kit to Mom Olive and Dad Cosmo. Olive is a first-time mom, but Cosmo is an experienced father, and they are doing well raising the little one together. I highly recommend going to the Cincinnati Zoo social media pages. The photos of the little kit, kind of looking like a baby chihuahua. It is something else. And then moving on from our births, we get to our deaths. And the Santa Barbara Zoo has said goodbye to one of the 2 red panda cubs born at the zoo recently. Now, you may remember from last week's episode that one of the cubs had to be pulled and placed into the veterinary hospital for additional care since it was undersized and not thriving with mom. Well, surprisingly, that cub is actually still doing well. The other cub was found deceased in the nest box, which serves as a reminder that the mortality rate of red panda cubs hovers around 50%, and it's often impossible to know what's really going on with them. They are tiny and fragile. So yeah, sending love to the team for such an unexpected loss, and especially because I know people in animal care, and I know that members of this team will be second guessing their decision to leave that cub with mom while pulling the other one. Though by all accounts, they made the best and correct decision given the situation. And that's really important to remember in times like this. You know, red pandas, man, those red panda cubs, they're so easy to love, but they will break your heart so many times. That 50% mortality rate is not amusing. And then Chafu, an 11-year-old cheetah that called Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium home, has passed away. He was treated for a hiatal hernia, which he did recover from, but he didn't regain his normal mobility afterwards. After exhausting all treatment options, the tough decision was made to say goodbye to Chafu. Having been hand-reared after his mother passed away unexpectedly, and having spent his entire life in Omaha, this is an extra painful loss for the team there, and his presence will be greatly missed. And then moving on from births and deaths, we get to the rest of our Zoo News section. And we're going to start, this story is close to home for a lot of us, I think. There are some animals that leave a legacy on their zoo, on their keepers, on the public, beyond what anyone has any right to expect. One of those animals, and like I said, I know it's an animal that a lot of you were very in love with, even though many of you never got to see her, was Queen Luna, the red panda, the oldest panda in the AZA until she passed away, who called Cape May County Zoo home. Now, Luna will call the zoo home forever. Luna has been buried and given an actual headstone at the zoo behind the red panda habitat that was her palace. The headstone is a beautiful tribute to an incredible animal that touched many of us so deeply and serves not just as a reminder of her awesome life, but as a reminder of how special animals can be to all of us, how much one individual animal can touch just so many hearts. And when zoos say that their animals are ambassadors for their species, this is exactly what they are talking about. I can't wait to go and visit Luna's headstone and say goodbye again. Wildfires in Canada and Minnesota caused such bad air quality the last week that many zoos around the United States chose to close, with others staying open but alerting the public to the fact that many animals wouldn't be given access to the outside and that all presentations, talks, and extra activities would be canceled. I was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for the worst of the smoke, and you literally couldn't step outside without it smelling like there was a fire like next door. I have seen some code red air quality warnings before, but code purple was a new one to me. It is crazy to think that fires as far away as Minnesota and parts of Canada not only affected facilities like the Buffalo Zoo, which are closer, but the Philadelphia Zoo as well. It's almost like the climate crisis we are facing is a truly global problem that we need to solve together, one that ignores state and even national boundaries. Who knew? Oh, right. We did. We all knew. The Honolulu Zoo has moved into the final stages of negotiations to bring giant pandas from China to their facility. And this may actually be more surprising to me than the fact that San Francisco is still working on getting giant pandas. The Honolulu Zoo, to my understanding, is a facility that is more commonly frequented by locals than by tourists that flock to Honolulu for, all the other reasons people go there. So I don't know, maybe that's the goal here. Maybe the hope is that giant pandas will get the tourists that are in town drawn to the zoo. I don't know. I'll be curious to see how this plays out. And I'm especially curious to see what will be required of the zoo if this goes through, because I know that there are lots of things that China looks for, not just the $1 million per bear per year rental fee, But they look at the habitats. They look at the infrastructure of the zoo. They look at all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with this story. Our friends at Tanganyika Wildlife Park have been keeping up their incredible transparency in many ways. The giraffe story y'all heard from Lindley last week continues to feature on their social media, with updates both positive and negative coming in frequently, multiple a day sometimes. And overall, that story seems to be trending in a positive direction, but again, it is still a fraught time for the baby giraffe. And but we got to remember that whatever happens, the efforts need to be applauded. And again, so does the transparency. And this week, Tanganyika also decided to be transparent about another thing that happened recently behind the scenes there. Tanganyika is accredited by the ZAA and is Global Humane certified, as well as obviously having the required USDA licenses to have and display animals. Unfortunately, as the park has grown in fame, especially due to the absolute adorableness of Mars the pygmy hippo, it has also come under attack even more than usual by the anti-zoo crowd, and also by people who are pro-zoo in general, but opposed to the interactive experiences Tanganyika is famous for, or people who, think the AZA is awesome and ZAA is horrible, or whatever. And because of that, multiple complaints have been filed against the zoo to the USDA about how they handle Mars and suggesting that other things behind the scenes aren't up to snuff. And I have to say, these are confidential complaints, so it's impossible to know where they're coming from. But we do know that false complaints are regularly filed against many zoos by the groups of people I just mentioned. But they can also come from people with genuine welfare concerns, even just like looking at things on social media and not fully understanding what they're seeing. And trust me, I have heard a lot of that myself, especially pertaining to my times drumming with Emily the elephant, stuff like that. But anyway, the USDA recently showed up to do a surprise inspection of Tanganyika based on the increase of complaints that they have received. And the zoo got a full, clean bill of health. No issues, no major issues, no minor issues, none of the things. So congrats to Tanganyika for doing a great job and for being transparent about, this challenge, because it is challenging to have to face something like that, even if you're more than up to the task. And so, I think it's really cool that they posted that. And I'm not surprised, but I'm pleased to hear that they passed with flying colors. And I do want to take a moment to point out that if you are a person listening to this and you have welfare concerns about animals, reach out to people. Reach out to the USDA, to the ZAA, to the AZA, but only if they're valid concerns. And maybe, try to talk to experts first and then see what you have to do. But if you truly have concerns, I genuinely think it is okay to raise them. I just don't think that was the case with most of what happened with Tanganyika. And then last but not least, in zoo news this week, the Greenville Zoo had an escape on Thursday. And oftentimes when we talk about escapes at zoos, it's, some cute little animal. Red pandas are notorious for escaping. But this time it was actually a truly dangerous animal. Irina, a 4-year-old Amur leopard, escaped her enclosure, but was quickly contained and tranquilized and returned to a secure part of her habitat. Staff and guests were evacuated during the escape, and the zoo remained closed to the public for the day so that the staff there could fully investigate what happened. And they have promised to update the public as they know more. As of right now, there really isn't anything to share. They don't know what happened yet, or at least they didn't, this morning when they posted about it. So if there are more updates, I will be keeping an eye on them. And that brings us to
Conservation, news time. Oh yeah.
All right, so we actually only have one conservation news story this week, but it's a pretty darn cool one. A new species of monkey was recently discovered in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's only the 5th new species of monkey to be described in the past 75 years, and shockingly, researchers believe it is endangered. It's a type of a colobus monkey known as lekwili, and it has a jet black coat with silver cheekbones and orange lips, which is really beautiful. They're actually smaller than most of the colobus monkeys you've seen in zoos. So, very cute species. Hopefully researchers will learn more about the population now that, it has been discovered, and either set up the conservation, efforts that are needed, or maybe just actually find out there's a much larger population and we don't need to conserve this one right away. That would be cool. Why is everything we find endangered? Although I guess the obvious Occam's razor type answer to that is because if we're still just discovering it in 2026, it's because there aren't a whole lot of them. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It's time for other news. It's time for other news. Hey, now, right now, it's time. It's time for other news. Hey, it's a segue to the part called other news.
Yeah, I know, guys. I know. Jimothy the raccoon exists. But here's the thing. If you're listening to this, you already know that, so I'm not going to do a big story about him and how adorable he is and how much I love him and how he's popping up all over social media and I think it's super cool and how just my heart feels 3 times bigger every time I see something about Jimothy. There's no reason to sit here and talk about Jimothy the raccoon. Now, if you are listening to this and somehow don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Jimothy. It is Jimothy, not Timothy. Or, surf the interwebs for 20 seconds, and you'll know everything there is to know about Jimothy. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about Jimothy because I don't even need to say the name Jimothy on this episode because everybody already knows who Jimothy is. And honestly, the more time I spend talking about Jimothy, the last time I would be able to go and look at images and pictures and memes and jokes and all that stuff about Jimothy. So I'm not even going to mention Jimothy on this episode at all.
Animal holidays. Animal holidays.
All right, it is still July, which is Plastic Free July, National Bison Month, Parks and Recreation Month, and Wild About Wildlife Month. For the individual days, there aren't a lot this week. The 26th is International Mangrove Conservation Day, and the 29th is International Tiger Day, and that's it. Those are your animal holidays for the week. All right, so there you have it, folks. Another episode of Rossifari Zoo News. I hope y'all enjoyed that one. I do want to remind y'all that there are a bunch of ways that you can support the podcast. Obviously, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Make sure you're following along on the socials at Rossifari, on TikTok at Rossifari Pod. There is a Discord server. I've been told it's a server, not a channel like I called it last week. And you can check that out at the link. I'll post it in stories, but also it is in the show notes. And obviously there's also a Patreon where you can throw some money my way. So if you'd like to help support the podcast financially, you can do so for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. I do want to say thank you to all of my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Shank, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, who is also here for stickers, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. Meow. And I'd also like to thank everyone who contributed to this week's episode, including Anya Keene, Colleen Linehan, Kim Cooley-Croninger, Carrie Kirkpatrick, Kevin Williams, Emily Rockbuck, Dr. Natalie Taco, Andrew King, Justin Fairchild, Tatum Flores, Justin Williams, Taran Hanton, Dr. Laura Shank, Melissa Reed, Ren Howell, Jacob Zinn, Holly Page, Nikki Morley, Ethan Ferguson, Dr. Zoe Rossi, Barbara Bennett, Ken Tryon, Marianne Rossi, Ann Yoshioka, Kristen Dickey, Jake Cash, Ali Malensky, Kay Malensky,
The Malenskys.
April Taylor, Daniel Cohen, Kelly Palawi, Rowena White, Zach Poe, Crystal Chapman, Jamie Chavez, Kristen Khalil, Maddie Patz, Jennifer Zune, Becca Robinson, Strix, Michael Sebastian, Melissa Kinney, Rick Schwartz, Sierra Bowen, Sam Evans, Stephen Rossi, Chris Infield, Nicole Lee, and Michaela Baratka. Thank you all so much for sharing Zoo News stories with me. We'll be back on Tuesday with a very timely episode, and then Friday with another Zoo News episode. But until those drop, remember, friends, the words Newsy credits backwards are Steider Kiswen. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.